Hello everyone, this is a video on my DoomBolt guard list, but just guard in general, for like how it works and then what the Google company does. The key part is that this list kind of isn't mine. It's a template from Joshua K, but it was just over his off-stream video. I really like it, and I probably will try his list one of these days. But this is my list for DoomBolt guard, because usually I like to just do my own spin on things. Also, I had a person from my local league for Arizona, for Warhammer, and he kind of showed me some stuff to do in Google company with his guard list, and I kind of wanted to try it, so I added it to the DoomBolt, and that's why these guys have flamers, and you'll see that there's a lot of flamers in my list. So there's 3 Chimers over here, head flamers, and then there's the 3 engineer squads here with flamers, and there is also 2 Catachins, but I don't actually own Catachins, so some of these, I think it's this squad right here, and then one more squad that has just 2 flamers, and then I just put 10 guardsmen bodies with them, and that's my Catachin. But either way, that's just a lot of flamers. But what is guard army rule? 1, our officers give orders. That's not every character. A tech priest doesn't have orders, but just certain officers like Gaurd or Castellan or command squad. They'll give orders, and then and these are the list of orders. But usually it's infantry to infantry, tank to tank, with exception to our Supreme Commander Lord Leontis and our soon-to-be Yark model that's coming out, which is going to be awesome. I'll be 100% using this list, and we'll see how he works with it. But those orders are +1 to RBS, so we're hitting on 3s, and so this is important because like the Vanquisher has like heavy. If we have heavy on something, it's stacks, so we're potentially going to be hitting on 3s, heavy, hitting on 2s. Fitz bayonets, this is more important for Bulgrin and horses, where they'll be hitting on 2s now. But this list doesn't use them, but it's important. It's an important order for when you have horses or Bulgrin. However, Bulgrin you need to have a commissar with enhancement in order to give them orders. Move. This is the most important order because now all our infantry is moving 9 and our vehicles move 13 most of the time, like 4 out of Inception, and then also like the horses. But yeah, so it's just flat +3 move. It's really nice to have. Especially when we're able to change orders in the movement phase when we deep strike in or in from to reserves, or in like we use a command point for maybe a rapid ingress to give orders, or a or what's it called? In Google company we have at the start of any phase orders. So that's really important there. The first rank, second rank fire is +1 to our rapid fire attacks. A lot of guardsmen guns just have it, so our plasmas are lasgun, and so this just gives a bunch of attacks. Take cover if you have +1 to stay, stacks of cover. But the key part is that it's just so 4 up guardsmen goes to 3 up. And so now cover, if you have 1 AP, the cover will get rid of 1 AP and we're back to we're just at 3 up again. So stacks, it also just works in the melee, which is really nice. So yeah, so duty and honor is just +1 OC and leadership. It just means that we can easily flip objectives if we pop this. Mostly because we already have so much OC, and then this just gives us more. So what's the list? It's a Cadian Castellan command squad, and 2 Tempest command squads, the Dorn tank commander of Kalini. Kalini is that +1 AP order that he now gets to give out, and a North Dog Slime Marble Tech Priest. Cadians, we have a 20-man and 10-man, Catachins with 2 10-mans, 3 Chimers with heavy flamers, 3 Kazakin, 3 engineers, 2 Silence. So the key part here is I wanted to show is that the Rogal Dorn gives a Kalini, which is +1 AP. We have 2 Catachins with 2 flamers each, and then 3 engineers with 2 flamers each. One's however hand flamer, the one's other regular flamer, as well as the Chimers with 3 heavy flamers. So what happens is firing deck from the Chimeras applies to the weapons, or like the order applies to the weapons in the firing deck. And so that +1 AP goes to these guys flamers, and then we potentially have a Chimera with just 4 flamers D6, 2 with 2 AP, 2 with 1 AP, most of the time. And so now we can go over the detachment rule, right? So it's Grizzle Company. It's the best one in my opinion. It's just +1 orders to our officers, and then our reroll ones to hit while we're under order. So we have stratagems like at the start of any phase issue order, +1 strength on our range weapons while we're under rapid fire order, sticky point in the command phase while under duty honor, lethal hits if we're on point, ignores cover, and then worsen your enemy's armor penetration by 1 in the shooting phase, aka this is armor from 10, but only in the shooting phase. So we'll go over some of the data sheets now. This Slime Marble, he's my favorite here. This guy's just kind of cool. That's a lot of anti-infantry 2 up precision, hitting on 2s attacks. This guy killed a Chaos Lord with all these attacks combined, which is kind of a bit of like attacks to do into a Chaos Lord, but you have to remember it's 55 points to potentially kill 8 Space Marines. Yeah, so he's really nice. He's just a normal guardsman without invul. I think he deserves invul and beyond this, but whatever. He's infiltrating low map stealth. So I didn't want to get infiltrate jail. At least I don't want my scouts or my scout units to get blocked by infiltrators, so that's why I include him. Ratlings can do a similar job better because they screen up more, but he has low map and then he has stealth. Low map is what's different from him to Ratlings. What he also is different is that he has measurement keyword, so he can take orders. So he can take your point. So he could move 3, actually +3 movement, 9 inches. Now he's under order, he's the only ones to hit. So now he basically hits all his attacks. The key part is the real ones to hit is for both shooting and melee, so that's boom, like 8 attacks guaranteed. And then you're wounding infantry on 2 up, so you're just getting a bunch of attacks. The neat part is that he has a shoot and scoot, so you could throw grenades, shoot, and then move away. But he also could shoot at enemy unit if it shot a friendly regiment unit within 3 inches of him. So if they shoot him and fail to kill him, or they shoot some unit and fail to kill it, he could shoot back. It's only 3 attacks. I've honestly only ever had it happen once because usually he dies if someone shoots him. But it's just kind of a nice FU to your opponent if they fail to kill him. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna take one of your guys now. Yeah, he's 55 points. He's cheap, man. I love him. Probably not the best unit in the entire army, but he's great in my opinion. The command squad. So the key part here is that we have just another plasma multi-gun shot, and then a grenade launcher, as well as what's that? I think it's 1 las gun, 1 las pistol. Yeah, and then there's what's called the commander, who has this command rod. He could be under 2 orders. So this squad, the commander, the prime, he only could give 1 order. But since we're real company, he could do 2, and since he could take 2, the squad now has +1 hit or PS. And so now we're hitting on 2s. We're ruling 1s, so basically all our attacks we're gonna get. We have sustained hits 1, which is like the equivalent to being +1 hit as well. And then we'll go over the sounds right now, but we also revive D3 because we have that attack. but this is just really nice. Like it helps the silence a lot with their damage output. The silence, however, even their rules are really nice, where we get to reroll ones to wound. So now we're really ones hit and wound, which is nice. Or if you're on the objective, full reroll to wound. Yeah, it's just pretty nice. Then there's another two plasma gun shots, one plasma gun, one plasma pistol, and then a couple las guns, and then a multi gun. So just a few more attacks, but this does have the potential to do damage to like any unit, especially if they're on point. Especially if we do like lethals as well, or +1 strength. Kills like 7 to 9 space marines on average by itself, and then if we pop like Gaurd's cover or the lethal hits or +1 strength, we almost always will kill the 10. It's just really nice. The Dorn Tank Commander, oh man, wait, where is it? The Dorn Tank Commander, the Dorns are really good. The key part is that it has so many, I run mine with 6 melting gun shots in total, where it's 2 meltas, and then 2 multi-meltas, so with 6 in total, and then we get to roll 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 damage, and so that's just really nice. And then really reroll ones to hit, naturally, because of the detachment roll, and this is just really nice. It's just really efficient. It's where we get our squadron orders in this, from 2 to 3. Tech Priest enters here. All he does is gives a 4 invul to our Adorn, or our Chimera Vid, and then something dies by him, he has better melee, he heals wounds as well. The main part is I kind of just use him as a 15 points more Commissar, because I usually just send him screen someplace with action, but that's in the later rounds. In the early rounds, that 4 invul is kind of valuable. Then we have the Cadian Castellan. This could be the 27 break of that we're going to go over. So he gives him sustain hits 1, which is really nice, to his unit. And then while this model is leaving a unit, they can shoot in the turn or spell back. That just means we can't get tagged, and like we can't have just one guy who kills 1 guardsman tag entire 26 on. So that's just really neat, and then he has Plasma Pistol and then the Power Fist, so his melee is kind of good, and then he's just another Plasma Shot. Potentially 2 if he gets the same hits 1. And then the Command Squad, it's another Plasma Gun, it's another Melta Gun. Oh no, it's just another Plasma Gun. You could do another Melta Gun if you wanted to, but I have 1 Plasma Gun in mind, and then I have a Plasma Pistol, and then a couple last guns. The key part here is that we have a Master Box that gives the order that allows the Cadian Castellan and the Commander in here, in order to give their orders from 24 inches of range. That's the entire No Man's Land right there. And then we also revive D3 models, and then I had the Regiment Standard, which goes +1 OC. So now these guys are 2 OC, he's 2 OC. Oh, I forgot to go over North Dog. But yeah, he's 2 OC, they're 2 OC, Mirka Dog's 2 OC, these guys are 3 OC. That's just a lot of OC already. On top, you have to remember, we have that order over here. Where is it? Where is it? Right here, +1 OC. So that's +2 OC on a unit, potentially. 4 OC bodies, yeah, that's like, you need 2 cadence to be alive in order to flip the objective. So yeah, that's just really nice. And then if we're on point, we get benefit cover, which stacks for take cover. We're gonna be on take cover a lot, just because it's stacking, because it makes guardsmen kind of hard to kill, because now they have space marine saves. Yeah, so then North Dog, this is actually another important piece into this. Not only does he have quite a few attacks that do damage, he has a great, good melee as well. He's hitting on 2s for the 1s, rapid fire for the year, yeah, same hits, equivalent to +1 to hit, so hitting on 2s practically. We'll probably get most of our shots back. But he gives our officers a Field Pain of 4 up, so that this means, and then he attaches it directly to the command squad. So once the Cadian shock troops die from our command squad, now North Dog is technically in this unit, and we use the highest toughness, so all these T3 bodies become T6. Then we kill there's 4 guardsmen before the commander. We kill the 4 guardsmen, leaving the medic alive last, and then we use the commander save. He has 3 wounds, and then he has a 4 Pheno Pain for while North Dog lives. Yeah, so I've just had like 10 attacks go into my commander, and then I save them like they're all low AP or 0 AP, and I just save them with the normal save, and whatever I don't save, I save with a Pheno Pain. And then himself has a Pheno Pain, so he himself is kind of hard. 6 wounds as well. The neat part about him though is that when we're selected by, he does mortal wounds, 2 to 5 D3, or on the 6 D3 +3. You'll see a very common occurrence here of mortal wounds. Most of our infantry have grenades. He's not an exception. He has grenades as well. So a lot of there's just a lot more wounds in this army. Cadian shock troops, 2 meltas, 2 plasmas from 10 man, or for 20 man. So that's potentially just so many sustains. They just sticky points. There's 20 bodies. That's it. Really high OC. And then we have a 10 man, which is the same thing. Plasma gun, melta gun. They can just screen at home. Now the Chimera. This is my favorite unit. It's kind of durable, especially for that 4 Pheno Pain in the very first round with the Tech Priest. But 2 Flamers, again, these can become AP2. Special roll doesn't matter, but the firing deck 2 is the important part. And then it has just like a bunch of small shots. Heavy stubber and allows an array. And then yeah, this is like, sometimes people fail to kill us, especially with Popsicle. Cassigan, we have 2 plasma, 2 melta, a hot shot marksman rifle, 3 las guns, a las pistol and a mine, and then a plasma pistol. Pretty sure that's it. But yeah, so this is a warrior elite, such good ability. Usually, so again, this unit can be under 2 orders, should be self-thwarted, in addition to any other officer issue order. But usually they're in a Chimera, so when they come down, they just have no one to get the orders. But that's where that whole start any phase of the order. So now these guys will be hitting on 2s with rapid fire. But generally, like if you can't give them that, you just put them in the rapid fire order for more attacks, unless you're going to stealth, then give them the +1 BS order. But their scout sits, they do good damage. They have the Meltamine again. You'll see a pattern here of the Meltamine and mortal wounds, and then they have Blast Caster. Yeah, they're kind of durable as well. Catechins, these guys are just another 2 flamers to be as our Chimeras, or just to screen out or flip objectives, do actions. We don't really care too much for their special role because the melee is kind of abysmal. Yeah, but that's me. Pre-combat engineers. Here's the last thing with the mortal wounds. We have these guys do the same thing with the mortal wounds. 2d3 or 2d3 if you're a vehicle. Within 9 inches though, but then they have 3 grenades. And then it's the same thing with the Catechin, they have a flamer and then a hand flamer, or potentially going to the Chimera and then have AP1 on their flamers, which is what the guy from my league showed me. And that's it for the list and what the units do. Basically, these are very efficient bodies here. They're a lot of flamers. I kind of deal with. I deal with this. I really want to go into Eldari with this list because when I do, I have a nice time. Lighter stuff is like this just kills light stuff really easily. However, I kind of struggle against vehicles unless they come and pop their heads out and I can mortal wound bomb.